crazy. Sometimes yogurt is made commercially and then they pasteurize the yogurt out, basically kill all the good stuff.
You began cheese making in what, like 2014? Is that right?
Yeah, 2014, yeah.
So let's just say now someone's like, I want to make my first fermented or cheese dairy product. Where should they start? Should they start with yogurt?
Yeah, I think yogurt is a great starting point. Kefir is also a really great starting point. If you have access to fresh raw milk, that clabber that I talked about is probably my number one starting point. If you have a dairy animal, you have to be keeping a clabber culture because it's such an amazing product. It's a culture, but it's also a dairy product in itself. You know, we eat a lot of clabber. Probably if you don't have a dairy animal or anything though, if you can get access to some kefir grains, they're going to be a really easy dairy product for you to kind of keep just like a sourdough starter, feeding every day, getting this product every day that you're able to consume. And if you can't get your hands on any kefir grains, that yogurt is also a really great starting point.
Can we actually give people a basic recipe for, you choose either yogurt or clabber?
I'll give a recipe for yogurt because it's probably the one that is most available to most people. But basically what you're doing when you make yogurt, you're pasteurizing the milk, which seems funny, but don't worry, we're going to add bacteria back into it. So you heat it up to a high temperature, so usually about 190 degrees Fahrenheit. And this pasteurizes out any of the raw milk bacteria, or if it's already pasteurized, pasteurizes out any other bacteria that have environmentally been introduced. And it also changes the composition of the milk so that you're going to get a creamier texture. And then what you're going to do is you're going to lower the temperature back down to a good fermenting temperature. So usually this is about 110 degrees for yogurt culture because it's thermophilic, warm-loving bacteria. You're going to cool it down to 110, then you're going to add in your starter culture. And so if you don't have any yogurt culture, you can just use yogurt from the grocery store. Just make sure that it has live bacteria in it. So it hasn't been pasteurized after the making of it because it's crazy. Sometimes yogurt is made commercially and then they pasteurize the yogurt out, basically kill all the good stuff. Plain yogurt from the grocery store that still has live bacteria in it, you can add that in. You're going to add a quarter cup of yogurt in per gallon of milk used. And then you're going to just stir it up and let it sit in a warm place for about 8 hours. And then it should be nice, beautifully thick yogurt.
You're only putting it in the refrigerator when it's kind of at the flavor or the culture that you want it to be, right? So I know, like, for example, eggs don't always have to be kept in, particularly if you're getting them from a fresh farm, they don't have to be kept in the refrigerator. Is that true with some cheeses as well?
To a point. Cheesemaking is the decomposition of milk. So it's like fancy composting. Your cheeses that you're making would be safe to consume even though you left them at room temperature, but they're going to continue to evolve. They're going to continue to ferment. And because they're at a warmer temperature, that might not be a desirable ferment. It might not taste good. So cooler temperatures are good for cheeses to be stored in, just not as cool as your regular refrigerator. So like fresh dairy products like yogurt and stuff, they can be stored in your regular refrigerator. In fact, I recommend it. But for like actual cheeses, usually they're stored between about 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So a lot of people store them in like their cellars or their attics. I have a special refrigerator that I have a thermostat hooked up to that I just keep it at that temperature.
Oh, similar to how people keep wine or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Wine fridges, like lots of people use wine fridges as cheese caves.
You've taught a lot of people how to make cheese. Do you find that there is a specific mindset that helps for them to enjoy making cheese?
I think just not overcomplicating it. It's very easy to go into it. And one, you don't know anything, and then there's all these new things that you're learning. It's really easy to become overwhelmed. So what I recommend people do is don't research too much before you dive in. Just order your ingredients, basically. Pick one recipe and make that recipe, and then make it over and over and over again until it feels comfortable before you start branching out and trying to do too many different things. I think that is sort of the best mindset to get in because it is so easy to overwhelm yourself. And cheesemaking isn't just especially aged cheesemaking is not just the making part, it's also the aging part. Sure, you learn how to make this cheese, but then now you have to learn how to age it. And so it just helps so much if you just do one cheese and get really, really good at making it and then add in more cheeses after that.
What do you think the learning curve is? Like if someone's brand new to it, are we talking a month? Are we talking 6 months to actually actually start to feel like you, not a master, but like that, okay, I got this?
I feel like it depends what type of cheese you're trying to make. I recommend that you just start with some simple dairy processing. Start with making like yogurt, and you can become a master of yogurt in like 2-3 batches. You might even feel like you're a master of making yogurt after the first batch because it really is just that easy. And so that's going to just give you some confidence to sort of go from there. And then if you just sort of pick one cheese, plug away at it, get good at it, you're going to kind of become a master of each cheese as you go along. That's kind of going to propel your learning a lot quicker than trying to bounce around all sorts of different cheeses.
What's a good first cheese for someone to start? We mentioned yogurt for that, yogurt or kefir, but what's a good first cheese?
Anything like a cream cheese or anything like that, I kind of recommend, this is the roadmap. So make some yogurt, then make some cream cheese, and then maybe like some fresh cottage cheese or something like that. And then a really good sort of aged cheese to start with is feta, especially because you don't really need a lot of fancy equipment. You probably have everything in your kitchen that you already need to make feta. You just have to order a few of the ingredients. So that's a first good aged cheese to make, would be feta.
You obviously focus on cow, but how does species affect the cheese?
I haven't done much of it, but I teach a lot of goat milk cheesemakers and also sheep milk cheesemakers. So sheep's milk, I wish I had a sheep. Sheep's milk is like, it's amazing. It makes such good cheese. All ruminant species of animals, their milk can be turned into cheese. And you can make all of the same cheeses that I make with cow's milk, with goat's milk, or with sheep's milk. It's going to be basically the same process. The taste is going to be a little bit different. You can't take the goat out of the goat milk, and you can't take the sheep out of the sheep's milk. But those kind of nuances, they're fine. They just, I would say, add to the cheese.
Have you ever worked with camel?
I've never worked with camel, but that would be cool. I think if I had to have a wish list for species, it would be like camel, yak, donkey. I want to try making cheese with all those ones.
If you enjoyed the clip from the podcast, make sure to check out the next video up here, or head over to watch the full episode down here. And before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Come on. Yeah, thanks for watching.